Alright, this video is for our operational and startup for our cold water jetters, cold water hydro jetters. First things first, find your toolbox and your operational manuals. So grab those, go through the trailer upon receiving, make sure all the nuts and bolts, just take a quick check out of everything. We re-torque the lug nuts, but when you get it, go ahead and haul it and just check, make sure no nuts have come loose. Occasionally they do, which is something you'd always want to do. Going back to your owner's manual and your checkout sheets. So initially when you get it back to your shop, there's an article that OSHA has, PPE, Personal Protective Equipment brochure, that kind of covers all the OSHA requirements for this equipment for safety, which I'll get into in a sec here. So you've got a startup procedure written out, kind of a basic startup. Also inside the jetter, you'll have some startup procedures if you've got the toolboxes. Some packages got toolboxes, some don't. So if not, we can PDF those and email it to you. Basic startups, you've got a safety overview, which I want to cover here on safety a little bit. Job site checkup. We're gonna kind of go over the safety quick here, and then we'll go over the operational on it. On the back of this unit, the first safety is not, whenever you start it, make sure your hose reel is in the off position, and then activate the hose reel valve that's back here when you're running. We'll go over that when we operate. Make sure you mark your hose, so when you're coming back out of the line, you know where your hose is at. A lot of guys will just use one mark, or some will use three, so they know when they're getting close. That's the number one area of injuries in this industry, is if that nozzle comes out of the pipe under pressure. It can really whip around. It can cut you, kill you. That's pretty serious under pressure. You don't ever want that to happen. Wearing eye and hand protection, I think, is real mandatory. You're dealing with sewage most of the time, so you want some really pretty good gloves to protect yourself, and we'll grab those. Eye protection, we include eye protection in it, and as you go through here, you can kind of check your parts. Damaged and weakened hose, if you've got severe hose cuts, replace that hose. Injuries have happened with the damaged hose. Close to 4,000 psi, you're very serious level of psi, and that'll just cut you in half. So common sense is replace that hose when it gets cut. The other thing to be aware of, and this is on our safety checkout sheet that's in this, is that when you're cleaning, you get a lot of backflow material coming back. So you want to protect your eyes again. Eye protection, or even a face shield. Provide your guys with the face shield. And take a minute and evaluate your location, where you're working at, where the spray is going to come at. Of course, ultimately, safety's up to the operator and the company that's training them. We'll try to give most all of that, best we can. So you've got this sheet that comes in. This is your operational manual, and our little checkout sheet on the equipment and on the trailer goes through the trailer checkout. Almost all of our trailers, except for the single axles, have got the bigger ball, the 2 5/16. Make sure your trailer's big enough, and your truck, well, the trailer's big enough, but the truck's big enough to haul the weight. So you want a heavy half at least, or a 3/4, depending on if you're going to haul with water or not. If you're going to haul with water, you want a pretty good truck. Make sure your brakes work. Make sure your hitch is good sized. Make sure your brakes are working. Common sense stuff, but it's also safety out there. You don't want anybody getting hurt. You don't want to get hurt. Again, this form we can email, the safety and jetter usage form. We do email it to you. We try to get everybody emailed, but have it on file and have it for your guys. Make them sign it off, and that makes you review it with everybody. And then inside here we've got a jetter site location pre-check list. So it goes through the trailer, power unit, nozzles. You know, you don't want to drive out to a job not have the right nozzles. Job site checklist goes through all that pretty good. So as you go through it and go over the equipment, make sure that shows up. The next clip I'll go over operation pre-setup. Thanks. All right, this is our pre-operational checklist, let's call it that. I'm going to start at the front. You got a 2 5/16 ball again. This is a breakaway for a, you hook that to your truck in case the trailer breaks away. This pops out, it'll lock the brakes up. Safety feature you only see on 10,000 pound rated trailers. Of course, that's a round plug six-way. Your battery box is here for the trailer. They say keep that charged up. Good idea. Going over the front of the equipment, these are your pre-filters before the water feeds into the head of the pump. So that one's 80 mesh, this one's 50. Thing's brand new, they're clean. You've got your oil, pump oil drain right here. It drains real slow, but it's a lot better than trying to get back in there. We install that. Pump site oil halfway up, that's perfect. Somewhere around half's good. 30 weight non-detergent, best oil you can find. Put on that. Call us, call Chester. We can hook you up the oil if you need be. And this is a primer valve right here. So if it's running and you think you've got some air in it, you've got water in the tank, let's stop pumping water. It's just like it's actually an air valve as well, but that will help purge the air out, and then get rid of your airlock. This valve here's your hammer valve. Hammers the hose. When it's open, it's on. When it's off against grain, it's not bypassing the water to this chamber. That's how it works. So you're running on 2 cylinders. That's what gets the pulsation out in your hose. Fuel filter for the motors here. Oil dipped stick, you can call that. Choke, hour meter, tachometer, and this unit's gasoline. Whenever it's hot, don't fuel it up. Give it a minute or two before you fuel it up. Don't fuel it up while you're running. This is also going to be red hot, of course, if it's been running. So kind of walking back through, got a battery box. Bigger the better as far as batteries. This is where you hook on your wash down hose or your pressure hose. I like to run the jumper hose off of that. You've got your relief valve here, unloader valve as it's called in the industry, and we generally preset that. If you ever got to adjust that, call me or Chester and we'll tell you how to, or our service guys, and we'll tell you how to adjust it. This unit's when this is unloaded, let's call it, and you're not pumping water, that water's going to go back to the tank. It's our pump saver system, works beautifully. High pressure line is out of here, water line's here. This valve right here determines whether or not you're going to draw antifreeze through the system or water out of the water tank. You have to follow that arrow. That arrow's this way, so we know we're on the water tank. You can kind of see that. Familiarize yourself with that valve. It's a good idea. Right now I'm on the antifreeze tank. See, it's going this way. And that's the antifreeze. So if it's winter time, this unit's shipped with antifreeze in the lines and in the hose. So that hose, the pressure hose, needs to be brought around, put in the antifreeze tank, and then you recapture the antifreeze. The process of that is you turn this to fresh water, bring the hose around. It's a two-man operation. Put the antifreeze, put the hose in the tank, run it until you see the line clear, and then the antifreeze is cleared. Then put your nozzle on and go to work. Follow that routine as far as jetting. We've got about a half tank of water. This is your pressure gun holder, strobe light. This is our jumper hose reel or small hose reel. We'll run that in a minute. On the back side here, you've got your rear lights. They're LEDs. Pretty good lights. You've got your on and off valve for your hose reel. That's in the off position with the line. That's in the on position. So off, on, pretty basic there, but really important. You never want to start it in the on position. I don't have anybody, do that. You got to be careful. That's one of the safety areas right there. Right here you've got our easy start valve, we call it. A lot of times somebody will start the unit up and say, hey, it won't build pressure. It's usually because this valve's in the on position. And again, that's with the grain. So that's on, against it's off. So we're gonna get this in the pre-start position. That's on, and that's off. That's pre-start. This reel's for filling the water tank. If you want to fill it at your shop, you can hook that up, or you can fast fill. Some of these have the fill so you can hook a 2-inch line off a fire hose or water truck. And then your drain, you got a big drain back here. Of course, that's against the grain. That's valving against the grain, with the grain. So pretty basic there. Back side, we've got the throttle. Here, it's right here on the side. So whenever I start, I like a little bit of juice to the engine, a little bit of throttle, not too much. I don't like to start it wide open. So usually all the way in, then out about a full turn is plenty. Of course, your hose reel. This has got the upgraded reel, the thumb control hose reel. Variable speed. It's right here. I'm going to set it a little slower so it doesn't surprise you when you turn it on. Okay, we're going to go ahead and fire this up. I'm going to go ahead and start it. We're in the pre-start position. Always double check. Easy start valve's on. We'll call it that. Hose reel's off. Water tank's on. Got water in the tank. Oh, I didn't show the soap line right here. This is for the soap, and this is feeding pre-pump. We'll really go over that soap tank. I'll show it real quick. That's about the only thing I think I missed. But the little soap tanks here, you can kind of follow the line there. I recommend putting 2 quarts in and then fill the rest with water. So it's 8 gallons, 2 quarts in. You don't want it too foamy. You want a nice measured foam, as we call it out there. You don't want too much foam in it, but It's got a little bit of soap. We'll run a little bit of soap. Soap, detergent, our 3-in-1's a great product. We're not selling anything in this video. So I'm going to turn that on just a little bit. Right here's your tack and hour meter. So we've got no RPM. Kind of going through it. 0.5 hours. So we've run this half hour. This is your choke. I'm going to go ahead and choke this unit. We're going to go ahead and start. We're green light to start. See, I'm going to get my gloves on. So while that's warming up, I'm going to go ahead and put our warthog nozzle on. Grab a couple wrenches here. Now on some job sites, now if you're going to clean a big pipe, which we occasionally have people do, we appreciate you calling in and letting us know, is after you've got your nozzle on, do a bend test. This warthog nozzle, this would be good to show this up close, Chester. So if you've ordered the warthog nozzle, which we'll demonstrate first, it's got a little gasket right here. Losing my voice. So once you pull that gasket, put it on the hose, I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up a little bit. The wrench will fit my hand. They're really loose. Okay. Now if you don't tighten that on and you lose it, we don't warranty it. Yeah, that's good enough for demonstration purposes. So once that's in, and I liked it, then you got to put that gasket back up in there. Now I'm going to do a bend test real quick. That's what warthog people do. It's in their literature. Now I'm going to see if that'll turn around. Now this is a leader hose on this. Our hose is also marked. The leader hose, this 15 feet, when it's coming back out of the pipe. Now on a 12-inch line like this, that could easily come back on you. So we have a stinger we'll put on when we do this bigger pipe. This size, I don't know, debatable. But if there's any question, you might as well do it. So we'll go ahead and clean the small pipe, and then we'll put the addition on here, the bend restrictor, will keep that from bending back. But I'm going to insert that 2-3 feet in the line. Got a one-man jet in operation today, which is fine. I'm going to take my tools out of my pocket. At least one tool out of my pocket. All right. So back here, I know the easy start valves, let the unit warm up. I'm going to go ahead and shut that off. Yeah, so that's on. That's just circulating the water through the whole unit. And that lets it warm up, takes pressure off the head when you start. So when I shut that off, you can hear the unloader valve kicking. So this is the control valve again for the hose reel. I'm going to lock my hose reel in. Right there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. We're in the pipe, and then I'm going to throttle up. I'm going to give it a little juice. Thanks, Esther. I'll throttle that down. Okay, I'm going to bring that hose in. Go ahead and pop that. Speed that up just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hook the stinger on that. That machine can idle all day as long as you got fuel. Run all day. See how tight, see if that cinched itself up. Back there, it's an expensive nozzle. I'm not going to pipe dope this or tape it. Go ahead and tighten that up a little bit. Warthog back on. Come on, baby. I need to make sure. Then I'll put my gasket on there. So there's a little stinger to keep that nozzle from coming around in the pipe. We got that hooked on right like that. A regular hose isn't as flexible as the leader hose. Insert that in the pipe. Always check for back debris, because when that's shooting backwards, it can throw rocks or whatever back at you. So I'm going to go ahead and lock in my hose reel again. And go ahead and activate the hose reel. Give it a little gas. I'm taking a little bath. I'm going to scoot that a little bit. I like that soap amount right there. Go ahead and rev this up. And there goes the hose. So here it goes. All right. A little bit of leak here. That ought to be taped up. You don't want high pressure water shooting into your hands. We'll clean this bigger one. I'll kind of scoot it over too. Yeah, that'd have a hell of a time turning around back on you. That's a good sized stinger right there. All right. My shirt falling out. Kind of hang on to this hose a little bit. That's a 12-inch pipe. I'm not even revved up. Okay, now that we've cleaned the pipe, I'm going to bring the reel in the hose. Be careful not to pinch your fingers on this. It's a good idea to have a rag with a sanitizer. Keep your hose clean. Good advice. I kind of set this up here. I'm going to pin this up. Well, set that there. So you can kind of bring that in. Be a good idea to take it out and then bring it all the way in. But we're just making a video here. Then you take off your nozzle and store it right. Want to show the other nozzles real quick that come with this unit, and we'll run the jumper hose. You've probably seen these in our other videos. You got a de-icer. That's the 1/4-inch knob. I'm going to grab that because we're going to run the little jumper reel next. You also got your button nozzles. One's a flusher. That's the thruster, so it's got a hole in the front. And this one's just a flusher, just has the rear nozzles. Pipe clean out, or your nozzle clean out tool. And this is your RotoJet that cleans the sides of the pipe. Warthog's kind of replaced all these, but again, price-wise and return on investment consideration, these are still doggone good nozzles. Another thought, just when you get the machine, when I go ahead and hook up the jumper nozzle, is to run this as like the power washer feature. It's a good startup spot sometimes to familiarize yourself with the machine. So I'm going to take the pressure wash hose. I'm going to go ahead and hook up the gun to it. I kind of cover that. Flip this hose over. So I'm going to go ahead and quick couple this on right here. I'm going to go through a quick mental check. Water's off, or water's onto the tank. Hose reel's off. Quick start valve. I'm going to go ahead and leave it in the off position. That's against the grain. I'm going to hook the gun and wand up, and just kind of show how this operation works. This is a good way to familiarize yourself with the equipment. I'm going to go ahead and open the valve that feeds the gun, and go ahead and bring this out and run it just a little bit. Let's assume we got a little cleanup to do out here. That's got a lot of kick to it, so basically all your water jetting equipment's just big water blasters. That's what we build. This is a good routine to go through to familiarize yourself with the equipment. I'm going to shut this off. Let the pressure off. Stole my gun. And then we're going to hook up and clean a small line here. I like to use that side hookup. I'll bring this out over here off to the side a little bit. Get this to where I can feed it in the line. So we're going to clean a lateral line here. Don't want to get your hose all dangled up too much. Okay, I got to hook a nozzle onto that. So we got our 1/4 inch nozzles. Probably run both these. They're both pretty good. That's going on pretty good. I'm not going to even wrench it on there. I'm going that way. All right. Get this where it's going to flow in good. Okay, we're in line. Put the hose in line. I don't like to rev up the machine when I run this. I like to run it just about half throttle, 1/4 throttle. Well, I got to turn my pressure on. Okay, now my line's pressurized. Pants up. All right, there we go. Good little nozzle there. I'll grab the other nozzle. This is a pipe cleaner nozzle. Got in my top pocket. Okay, this is the pipe cleaner nozzle. Really deep cleans these small pipes. It shows that. Now, one thing that's really important when you shut your water off here, when you shut your water off, you're still under pressure. So you want to let that pressure off. That's real important that you let the pressure off, because this hose, it's like a snake skin. It swells up and holds some pressure, so we let that pressure off. That could give you some new dental work, so be careful on that. I'll wrap all this up, stow it. Make sure you put all your parts away, connect your hose reel to the connector so you're not dragging your warthog nozzle. Put all your stuff away and check your lights, and off you go to another job. Thanks a man.